Welcome to the Accounting Arc Podcast, where analysis, reaction, and comedy collide to tackle the big topics from the world of accounting and beyond. Join our trio of transformation agents as they discuss the hottest topics in and out of the profession, from breaking down industry trends, to reacting to everyday events, to uncovering the hidden humor in numbers. With wisdom, insight, and a dash of levity, they're proving that accounting isn't just about the numbers. It's about life. Because after all, accounting is in everything. The Accounting Arc Podcast starts now.
Hey everyone, well, thank you again for joining us today. I hope you are getting ready for the holidays and also getting ready for the next tax season. And I'm actually purposely not calling it busy season because what I'm kind of hearing from everyone is this may not be that bad, especially compared to the last few. So I'm hoping that's actually hoping that's going to be true. Let me actually get some of my co-hosts on stage here as well. And so this is a special episode in a sense of the Accounting Arc webcast. So we've got Liz here, and I know Byron's Byron's having some technical difficulties, and so we hopefully we're able to get him on eventually, so you can see that. But welcome, Liz. How are things going?
Thank you. Well, better than Byron. I didn't have a computer brick on me today, so how are you?
I'm doing well. It's been kind of a crazy buildup for everything, but I'm glad that we were able to also make this happen because this is not our normal one. So for those of you joining, we normally host a podcast, so what you're going to see today is kind of a combination of podcast as well as CPE. So we've got Liz, Byron, and myself. If you haven't seen our Accounting Arc podcast, it's available on YouTube. You can just search for Accounting Arc, ARC, or the Center for Accounting Transformation and take a look at that. We talk about all kind of different topics from all kind of different angles, but we always kind of pull the accounting angle back into it. So please check that out if you have time. And you're going to be part of that today. So today is a little more of a talk show format. And we'll be going through various topics throughout today. The first we're going to look at is we're going to give you a preview of our upcoming tax platforms report. This will be out after tax season this coming year. After that, we're actually going to have our guest is going to be Dr. Jackie, who's going to give us some insights about tax planning. And then we've got Rory Henry coming on to really look at the bigger picture of wealth management. And then to give you a little bit more that is related to tax season, we actually have a PhD. Hey, Byron, Caitlin Hobson.
Hey there.
She's done some research around hope and how you can actually create hope and measure and create hope so that you can actually see what's going on in your team's level of hope to get you through tax season. Anything else there?
I'm really excited to hear from all of our guests today. I know each of them comes with some really incredible knowledge, and I'm also excited for a little bit of a ping demo.
Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, we've got normally what we try to do at this time is we try to give you stuff that's like, okay, here's the latest things that you can try and implement immediately. We're going to do a little bit of that in some of the platforms just in case you haven't rounded out your stack there yet. But we also have a special guest, Camden Bean from Ping, who we've chosen as our startup spotlight. So we'll give you more information when we get there. So thanks for that reminder, Liz.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about all the AI tools. So anytime we get to highlight them, it gets me happy because I think that's what will transform tax season into like true, not busy season, right? Like just a normal everyday season of work.
All right. Any opening thoughts from you, Byron?
I mean, first, I'm happy to be here. Sorry for the technical
Welcome.
issues.
Welcome.
Yeah, it was a long story, but I'm here. I made it. I'm super amped for the conversations. I think there's going to be some really quality conversations, and of course, I appreciate or I agree with the enthusiasm for some AI demos. So yeah, let's go. I'm excited for it.
All right, well, let me bring up the first set. So the first thing we've got here is a preview of our tax platform research that we've done. And what we're doing here, so I'm just going to really walk through. I mean, this is really the sneak peek of what's coming up. And what we did in this research was we actually surveyed, I believe in total we have 155 firms. It was a variety of sizes, as you can kind of see here. But we wanted to give all of you just some ideas around who's using what. And so we're really just going to walk through this really quickly. Byron, Liz, if you guys have anything that you want to call out as we look at any of these, feel free to jump in. So first one here is really about the tax prep software. So this is one when people come and they ask me like, hey, can you help me optimize my tech stack? This is usually one of those that we don't touch, mainly because we found in my experience that it's really depends on the practitioner and what kind of your preference, as well as what type of clients you're working with. But if you're kind of curious to see how you stack up against other firms, we have the various firm sizes there. Now, keep in mind that the number of responses, especially on the 10 and under, as well as the 1,000 plus, those are fairly low. And also, there's not that many firms that are on the 1,000 and under. So even though that one is low, that's an interesting one to see. So the core right now is over here in sort of the mid-sized firms, that 11 up to 1,000 there. You can see from what we're seeing here. And actually, let me go to the next slide.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
How do you use Excel as a primary tax preparation
You
software?
literally took the question from my mouth, Liz.
Right.
I was zooming in on that to make sure I was reading it properly.
And I have to tell you that a lot of that was actually in the other, and we have to reclassify that because it was such a strong response.
So people wrote it in as, this is my primary tax prep software.
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, I understand doing work papers in there, right? But I don't quite understand how that would be like a compliance software. But who knows? Maybe there's some Excel patch with like forms built in. I would not put it past an accountant to build that.
I was gonna say, so that's the way I did my own taxes when I actually used to do it. This was a long time ago because I haven't done my own taxes in a long time. I actually used to build out, I don't think it was Excel, it was a different spreadsheet program at the time. I used to build out the form so it did the calcs for me, and then I would handwrite it into it. I hope no one's still doing that, but that's the same here. I was like, I hope that's not what's happening, but maybe it is.
Well, if anyone is listening that uses Excel, please call me.
All right. Yeah, so we can see Access Tax is pretty much dominating. Oh, I was going to go to the next slide, which gives us the overall. So when we look at that, we're seeing Access Tax definitely dominate there. Interesting to see the second one is the legacy CCH product. And then we've got a variety going all the way through the rest of it there.
I'm surprised CERT is so high. I mean, I realize it's only 2% of the overall, but still surprised to see that. It is the ugliest of them, in my opinion. But ProConnect is very pretty, so.
Yeah, the CERT was the first. Yeah, the CERT was the first tax software I learned in, and I think there's probably a lot of people who just, people don't change tax software. So once you start using it, you just keep running with it.
Yeah.
It's offensive to my eyeballs.
Well, and actually, so I'm actually going to go back up one slide. So part of my call to action, if any of you that are watching are in this 10 and under, we would really love to get more responses from people like you to help kind of maybe make this a little more realistic for the lower end of the firm sizes here. So that's my one call to action. And we will make sure that we get everyone that's attended the opportunity to participate and get a copy of the final report. All right, let's go to the next one. So 1040 scanning technology. So you can see, again, we've got a wide variety there. Makes sense that CCH's solution is the biggest since we saw the largest use out of the population. there, but the one that stood out to me on this was the number of people that aren't doing this. That baffles me. I don't know. What do you guys think? I was just like, what?
I actually understand this. I think OCR technology is just getting to the point where it can pull information from tax documents in a really meaningful way. So it has historically made significant mistakes and required a lot of human intervention. And so if you're not doing complex 1040s, like you don't have 1,000 pages of documents, you have 5 pages of documents, it is faster for a human to just go enter that stuff for the 5 pages than it would be to review the OCR and then review the tax return. And if all your 1040s hit that very small, then why bother?
Oh, okay. I love that we have that counter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a proponent of technology, so like big surprise, and I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
I mean, that's a good point though, Liz. I mean, it kind of depends on what your volume of 1040s is and the level of complexity with them. That being said, I mean, you know, the CCH scan, I think I installed my first CCH scan server in 2004. I mean, we're going on 2 decades of this technology, and it's fairly mature from a standard processing. And then of course, I mean, we have so many new cool tools that I think will start making this list here in the next couple of years that are so much better than these like traditional scanning utilities.
Well, one of the things we've been doing at TaxFigure is testing all of the new AI OCR recognition tools and the way that they're doing things to make sure that when we're ingesting tax data, it is 100% accurate and there won't be mistakes. And that has been really fun. So we've been doing a lot of benchmarking and data analysis of what is happening with these tools, and they're getting better. And there are a few that are like really good, but by and large, they're all kind of mid.
Yeah, and that might be representative of the fact that people are choosing not to adopt. There's just too many issues. So let's go on to tax research, because this is actually one of the ones I think if you haven't tried out any of the AI solutions here, and this data gathering was actually done before we saw a lot of them really come to the fore, which I think was after tax season. This was actually done before tax season this past year. So we aren't seeing them here. But if anyone hasn't looked at any of these AI ones, that I think, just then this is just me. So Liz, I'm curious for you as an actual tax practitioner, those are actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's effectively deep research is a place that AI excels if it's honed correctly. And that's exactly what we're building with TaxFigure is a well-honed situation.
Yeah. So the biggest ones that I've been hearing on the conference circuit talked about are really BlueJ, CoCounsel. I'm hearing great things about as well, and those are probably the 2 standouts. There's also Tax GPT, and I feel like there's one other one that I'm missing.
It's called TaxFigure that I'm building. Thanks.
Yes. You already mentioned that one, so that's where I was like, these are all the other ones.
Oh yeah, no, there's a bunch of really good products, and always depends on like how you're using it, what your workflow is, and if you want to ingest your own data or not. But the CCH one I've played with a bit, and BlueJ I've played with a bit as well. All excellent options. The best part about it is like, the part that I find most tedious with tax research is actually going in. You find all the information, that's fine. Then you have to read and ingest all the information and interpret it from like, law written to practical written, right? And write these memos and create all these documentations around it. And that part it's time consuming, it's tedious, it's hard to do that interpretation. And that's where AI excels. Of course, you have to review everything from all of these systems because it is still subject to hallucinations, and it very much depends on how the backends are built, but it saves a ton of time.
Definitely. So
one way to reduce busy season to tax season.
Yep. So we're all looking forward to after tax season, because I think all of those, including Liz's solution, is we're really going to see all these come out of the woodworks and start hitting people. All right, last one in this set is really the tax planning. And this is where I feel like there's a lot of opportunity coming up. And this is where I don't think we've seen a lot of stuff come out in this area recently, but in the past, I should say. And I feel like there's more coming out here. Again, I'm going to turn towards Liz.
I mean, yes, there is definitely, and this is something I think we'll talk to Jackie a little bit about later in this conversation. But tax planning is obviously a very important piece of what a tax professional does. And it is also the most neglected piece by and large across tax firms because it takes time, it takes preparation, it takes forethought, it takes client providing information and actually having conversations, which can be difficult. But yeah, the technology will continue to get better, especially with large language models behind it, to be able to do some predictive analytics and really think through, changes in tax code and laws. And that's one of the things that everybody right now is thinking about, how to exploit the big, beautiful bill, if we can still call it that. I mean, that's its name, right?
Yeah.
This list is fascinating. I mean, I feel like this is the last year that we're going to see this list being so dominant of the just traditional tools. I feel like, next year and forward, we're going to start seeing, the tax plan IQ showing up more in this survey, and some of the other tools that, are emerging today. So it's like, I think, yeah, this is the last year of just like major dominance of all these legacy tools. My expectation or prediction.
Except on the last part, we saw that Listert is still used quite often. So I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, in that people pick a thing and then they don't change. So my prediction is that all of these systems will still be there and will include more on the list.
Agree. I think we're going to see more come on. The two things that stood out for me in this, and I have it in the yellow there. There was a ton of other, and when I went through that other, I really could not pull them out and make them another line on there. So we're seeing this. There's a really wide variety of things being used here.
This is where I would expect to see Excel. People have built these robust planning models in Excel, right? Where they model out the implications of all these different decisions you can make in tax planning. And so I'm surprised that this does not have Excel on the list.
And then my last one on this is the 19, or 1 out of 5 firms are not doing tax planning. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, I understand wanting to play in just the compliance space, though. Like, planning comes with risks, and it comes with holding clients accountable, and it comes with like a crystal ball in a lot of cases that is difficult. And so, there are a fair number of accountants that just want to do the thing they're really good at. And I think that's totally great. So like, yes, there's always opportunity in every direction. And also having a firm that's focused on like the thing they do really well is not necessarily a bad thing.
Great context. Well, and that also is a great, it's a great preview of not the next conversation, but the conversation after that, where we are going to talk with Dr. Jackie on that. But for a quick break here, let's see if we can get Camden on stage. So one of the things that did not have in this list is what I think of as the assistants, or the meeting assistants. And Camden here has developed an assistant that is originally he designed specifically for tax, and it sounded like from some developments there that it might be broader than that. So welcome, Camden.
Welcome.
It's good to be here. It's I'm with Byron out here in Digital CPA, and so we're fighting the same Wi-Fi issues.
Yeah, and you're gambling hard that they're not going to start the show in the background.
Yeah,
we see you. We see you. Yeah.
We might see some dancers back there. I'm well, perfect. I'm feeling a little bit choppy, so I apologize. I'm at Digital CPA, and it was working until about right now. So
that's how it always
you sound good from our end.
I'll talk through it, and if you can't hear me, Donny can just Donny can just sing my praises if I fall off the cliff, and Liz can say some nice things. This is full for me. I came back from I was originally at a company called Divvy, which was a spend and expense platform, and I was on the marketing team. I was one of the earlier hires there. One of my first CPE webinars was with Donny. And then shortly thereafter was with Liz. So this is full circle to be here as building my own tech product and working with everybody here. It's fun to be here.
We're glad to have you.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah,
and we're going to go through. Yeah, this is
perfect. We're
seeing everything okay?
Yep.
Perfect. So Ping Assistant, and Donny nodded to it. It started as a note taker built only for accounting firms. And if you haven't used a note taker before, you 100% should. And since we're talking to accounting firms at this level, if you're not using an accounting specific tool, I'm about to tell you why you should be. And so we started a note taker, but we realized we're gathering all of this information, and we could actually build some really powerful. We'll call it client intelligence. Intelligence is an AI brain that knows the client. It allows for you and everybody else on your team to have analytics on client actions, and easy to query. It's easy to query every interaction that you're having, whether it be if you're a solo, you can query all of your interactions, or if you're a team of 10, 20, or 30, you can actually then interact with every interaction your team is having with that client. And we can generate profiles. I'm going to show you a little bit what that looks like. But at the core of everything that we're building, it's called client intelligence. We believe, from my time at Divvy, I learned the client relationship is the most valuable thing that an accountant has at their firm. And there's a lot of tax figure. Awesome. She's building really cool tax research tools and then cool tools to help with finding tax returns and collecting documents. And there's so many AI tools getting built. I'm at Digital CPA, and everybody and their dog is an AI this or other. But we're focusing purely on the client relationship. And we believe that in 5 to 10 years, the what if of AI is massive, somewhere between doing a lot of everything and where we're at right now. And we think it's going to be in the middle, but we think that the client relationship is going to be super, super valuable. And that's why we're building client intelligence. Liz, I know you use an accounting specific note taker. Any specific value that you're finding as an accountant yourself?
Yeah, so we find a ton of value with AI note takers because it gives us the context that maybe we miss because we're taking our own notes or we're thinking about what we're going to say next or how to respond. And there's so much that happens in those meetings, and particularly when you're building relationships with clients. Like a client might tell me something about, their kid or something that's happening in their family. And, I'm focused on, okay, I have to deliver this report. I have to talk about these numbers and get the context for the business. And I might miss the small detail that's really important, right? And it's amazing when you go to query those notes and you're able to say like, okay, so what happened when we talked about XYZ? And it's really great from a business perspective. It's great to share with other team members, but it also helps build relationships when you can be like, hey, do they have a kid? Did they ever mention how old that kid is? Like, these are the things that come up during the holidays. And if I send, a card to a client and it's a handwritten note, it's like, it's really good to know, like, am I addressing this just to client or client and family, right? Little pieces of information make a big difference in a relationship. The other thing we've done that's a little non-traditional is like ask clients what they're into lately, like what they're up to. A lot of times they'll share like, I'm reading this book or I have this hobby or, whatever else, which makes it really easy to send client gifts. You can go in and ask questions like, hey, what is this guy into? And like, help me pick a gift for them based on this 10 conversations we've had in the last couple months. And then you can really pull out some cool insights for building relationships.
I love it. And that's the relationship aspect is so, so, so valuable. We also find that there's a lot of administrative work around the relationship. And that's sending emails, keeping track of all this information. And we view this at 2 levels, the individual contributor and then team management and helping manage your actual staff if you have a team. So if you're a solo or a very small team, we're building tools to take away a lot of the administrative work of working with your clients, whether it be remembering their daughter starting school at LSU or whether it's helping you draft that email after a meeting. Whereas if you're managing a team or if you have multiple teams, we want to give you direct insights into both of those interactions. And so with individual contributors, we have our meeting assistant. It's helping you prep for meetings. It's taking notes for you during meetings, just like Liz was saying, helping you just be completely focused on the client. And then post-meeting, we're pushing all of those notes and follow-ups into your systems. We're connected with Carbon, Double, Financial Sense, and we have a couple really exciting connections that we're working on right now. And our meeting assistant is amazing. And then on the email assistant, we're helping draft emails in your email client. So if you're using Outlook or Gmail, we're drafting them natively in that tool. We're learning your voice, and we're actually creating some interesting labeling to help manage that email flow. Let me actually share my screen and talk you through some of the tools that I can actually show you what we're doing, because it's more fun to see the product than it is just for me to talk about it.
And Camden, just so real quick, we have 3 minutes.
Exactly. I'm going to go quick for this, Donny. Thank you. For this, what we've broken down is the notes taken from the meeting itself. These notes are accounting specific. You can go through the notes themselves. What I want to focus on is this action item aspect that you can then push into your practice management system. You can assign them to team members if you have that. You're also able, and this is where I get incredibly excited, this ability to ask Ping questions on who the client is and what you're needing from this. Whether it's, hey, I need to draft a follow-up email from this interaction. And now from this meeting, you're able to then go and use the email that, and let me actually, oh, there you go, perfect. The Wi-Fi is a little bit slow, but we're getting there. I use Gmail, so it's going to show up in Gmail, but whether you're using Outlook or Gmail, it's going to look very similar to this. So it has this draft, and you can actually open it in your email client itself. I use Gmail, like I said, but if you're using Outlook, it'll look just the same. And you can then go, I'm a big Seahawks fan, so I always throw a Go Seahawks in here in this flow. But you're able to then add that and really help manage that client interaction. We're constantly building out new feature sets. We are fully focused on the client interaction. You can actually query every meeting that you've ever had with a client. And it gets pretty interesting with the insights that we can start pulling. Specifically, when you start managing teams, you can help find new revenue opportunities and some training opportunities as well. So I realized this was a quick snippet, and I wanted Liz to say it because Liz is a believer, and it's way more fun to talk to Liz and Byron and Johnny, because I'm a guy who's selling software, and I realize I believe my software is really good, but I want everybody else watching this to realize that there's some really powerful use cases for you. So thank you so much for having me on. This is awesome.
Thanks, Camden. The other thing I want to note that's like changed my life with an AI note taker is I can send it to meetings that I don't have to attend with my team. And then I know what happened. And I have all the context and all the information to make decisions and continue advising the client, but I don't actually have to go to the meeting, which is amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm actually doing the same. So whether you're using any of the meeting recordings, highly recommend those. A lot of the generic ones will give you transcripts and summaries and action items that come out of it. But when you use a tool like Ping, what you get is that more comprehensive view. And even if you use another note taker, you can upload the recordings into Ping. So that was why I was impressed, because Camden and his team also have the tax context built around it. So it recognizes tax terms. Big thing that, and Camden, I think you said you were giving everyone that's attending a 3-month trial. So how do they get that? Or we'll send a link out, I guess.
Yeah, we'll send a link out. Anybody on this webinar, if you're friends with, Liz and Donny, we want to take care of you guys, and Byron, of course. And so we'll send out a promo code in the email, the follow-up email, and we'll get everybody a 3-month free trial. We realize trying out all these new AI tools can be exhausting. Luckily for us, the sign-up will take you 2 minutes, and you get 3 free months. And if you don't like it, which I'm confident you will, then it's easy just to turn off, and we'll be done with it. So, and the one thing I wanted to announce, this is a big announcement we're having, is we're actually turning on. Some people get annoyed by having little note takers join the meeting, right? And so we're actually turning on botless note taking in the new year. So you'll actually be able to have a meeting, but without having all the thousands of note takers flowing into the meeting, and sometimes you're outnumbered. So we don't love that experience, and it won't solve your problem, Liz, of being able to not join meetings. But when you are on a meeting, it'll just be you and the client who's still capturing the notes. So anyways, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good stuff,
you.
Cameron. Thanks so much for sharing. That's sick. I'm excited for that. I had a meeting recently where it was just me and 6 note takers. So, yeah,
You just talked to the AI.
that was it. I said a bunch of obnoxious things and just like left. Yeah.
People are going to get a bunch of emails with the notes, and it's like the theme of it. Byron says weird stuff. End of meeting.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, that's fun.
Well, we're trying to pull Jackie on stage. So Jackie, if you can hear us, we can't see or hear you yet. So if you can jump on that. But the one other thing I did want to emphasize is that this whole note-taking thing, you know, when we look at what are some of the things you can do just before busy season, since it's coming up, that's one of those. Again, whether it's Ping or one of the other ones, you got to do that. You just heard all the benefits that we talked about. All right.
Well, and it has an amazing benefit for tax planning.
Yeah, man, I love that banner. I was just giggling over here. Byron talking to himself.
All the bots.
I'll record the meeting next time so I can share it with everybody.
It's like a recurring
So
meeting. We just have a recurring bot meeting. Okay. I can get
when the
behind
best
it.
things get done. Yeah, no doubt.
Anyways, Jackie, welcome. We are so happy to talk to you about tax planning.
Thank you.
I am very happy that you're here. I think it might be super beneficial if you give like a 20-second introduction.
Sure. I'm Dr. Jackie Meyer. I am the founder and president of Tax Plan IQ, which is a SaaS software for tax advisory. I screenshotted y'all's research earlier because I sent it to my team. I was like, no, like still behind still, right? And the Excel factor, because I logged in whenever y'all were talking about tax prep in Excel, which is very concerning. So I've had Tax Plan IQ for 5 years. We're just hitting almost 700 firm users. And yes, thank you. And it has been quite the ride. I'm also a recovering CPA myself. I had my own firm of 12 years, but I was able to completely transform it towards tax advisory, and it saved my life. It saved everything. It was the end all be all for me. So that is me.
Well, congratulations. And also for those of us that are still in the CPA and the tax world, what is the one piece of advice you would give everyone coming into tax season?
Do tax advisory.
Sweet. Cool. How?
I'm so sorry, but I get it. If you said people should niche down, but like it is the future, y'all. Tax advisory. It's the highest net profit margin. It's the highest return. It's so fulfilling. It's just everything. That's what I would advise.
Amazing. So for firms that actually really want to do that, how do they do that? What does that look like?
So when I first started Tax Plan IQ, I very sillily, if that's a word, those are my mom words, sillily.
It's a great word.
There were plenty of tax advisors out there to use the software. And there are not near enough of us. There's less than 3 to 5% of the AICPA members that we have found, although it's very odd statistics that you can even pull. So there's a huge opportunity there. The last couple of years, we completely revamped the platform from, oh, you're an expert, here's just a platform to make it more efficient, to, oh, you don't know anything about tax advisory, let's make you the expert. Okay, so we literally offer one-on-one coaching. We let you upload a 1040 PDF. It will automatically suggest 100 plus tax strategies in seconds. It's like, awesome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you go from there to implement the plan. It has its own pricing methodology that I created, called ROI method, which lets you value price. And so we really equip our users with like A to Z, everything you would need, because they all tend to have a little bit different problem they're trying to solve. They might not know the technical piece. They might not know the presentation side or the sales side. And so we fill in all of those gaps.
That's amazing. And I think everybody right now is kind of scrambling with the OBBB BA, if I get that right.
Yeah.
What are the things that you're thinking about that this law changed that people can consider from a planning and a compliance perspective as we're heading into tax season?
So right now, as we're hitting the end of the year, I'm thinking through like everyone's going to be like, oh crap, I didn't do XYZ by 12/31 because there are some provisions that had to be done by then. There are others that don't start till 2026. There's like qualified opportunity zones, which won't be great until 2027. So it's all over the board. And it's really just about plugging into a community where you're talking to people constantly about what's going on and when. Bonus depreciation is going to be a big one for this year. Maximizing entity selection with QBI, since that's permanently extended now. There are going to be some cool things you can do during tax prep, which people are probably like, oh, thank goodness. You know, you don't have to do it now to still apply to 2025. And so I'm actually putting together a cheat sheet for people to just, as they get into tax prep season, they can be like, okay, let me check these boxes, make sure that I looked at these things for my clients. One that's really interesting to me, which I'm curious if y'all have any, thoughts, is the car interest loan deduction, because I saw a news article about how people are not buying new vehicles. And we know that tax reform is all about social change, right? And so this $10,000 potential deduction is to purchase a new vehicle that was assembled in the US and gets a loan, right? And so it's like, are people really going to do that? Is that going to impact social change? I don't know. So we'll have to see.
Are there any cars assembled in the US?
Yeah, there
are.
I mean, there's like 3 you could buy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Tesla.
Do they have engines?
I looked it up and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but yeah, there's like 3.
Oh, that's fascinating. Hey, Jackie, can you talk a little bit about your like tax planning assistant bot? Because that thing, like when I first saw that, I was like, holy shit, like I could do this, but I can't, but I could with your little bot.
Yeah,
like,
make it like that foolproof. No offense, Byron. No offense. Yeah, so Jane, Jaine, she's our chat bot. She just pops up within Tax Plan IQ when you're navigating. And she's like she has instant access to all of our knowledge in our strategy library. And so it's like having a really smart tax planning coach. It's not like she's trying to replace any of those tax research assistants, right? So we still recommend Blue Jay. We have, we work with CPA Copilot, and there's a lot of different tools out there. But she helps you really hone in on if the tax strategy will apply to the client and help you get there to implement it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what impressed me, is just like it is that coach that just kind of like tickles you with like, hey, here's these opportunities, and you're like, oh, tell me about this one, and then it goes into that, like, yeah. So I thought that was one of the coolest features y'all built.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Cool.
I like that you pointed out too that it complements the research tools, because that was one of the things in my head where I was like, and that's why in the category we have you in the same category where it's like research tools, and we have Tax Plan IQ in there. So we really should be actually separating it out, because there are some distinct functionalities that you've got there.
Yeah, I mean, we constantly debate this, and like with our CMO and marketing team, it's like there's different levels of tax planning too, right? So are we talking about tax projections? Are we talking about tax strategy, reduction of taxes, or what? What the heck are we talking about, right? And so like B&A is a projector. We have some stuff coming in 2026 that's going to compete with all those guys. But yeah, it'll be cool.
That's amazing. So one of the things that I have found in our practice is for the clients that we actually do tax planning activities, which includes tax projections, tax estimates, and strategy. And that's kind of how I all encompass that. But the clients that we do that with, by the time we get to tax season, it's a really easy conversation. They know what their tax bill is going to be approximately. They know what we have most of the information already. They know what additional things we need at the end of the year. And the compliance goes by like a breeze. But the ones that we don't do any planning activities for, it is always, we don't know what information we don't know. Right. And communication can be complex and difficult. And sometimes we get information that makes the tax bill very high. And nobody likes getting a phone call in the middle of, sorry, I almost said busy season, Donny. I will pay you $1 for the swear jar. But for tax season, I feel as though those clients hate getting a call in, the first couple months of the year saying, oh, by the way, you owe $50,000. So big proponent of what you're building and how you're helping firms actually implement that and think about it. But that is one way to make tax season easier.
It is. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. Yeah. I remember one of those calls I had to make tax planning in my firm, and the client just hates you. It's worse than the dentist pulling teeth, right? I mean, you having to tell them that they owe a ton in taxes when it's not technically your fault, but they think that you're advocating for them. They think that you're doing all these things that you just hadn't even agreed to. So being proactive is definitely the way to go, for sure.
Like that. And that really points out, I think, that the ones that aren't doing it, this is really why you should, because it'll make that return as well as the relationship with the client so much smoother.
For sure. Yeah. And actually, I probably should show y'all, because I think we did a promo for y'all and your attendees. This is a brand new book out. So if you're not interested in investing in a full software, this is through CPA Trendlines. And I probably have each of y'all quoted in this. I have a lot of quotes of a lot of cool people. And it literally walks someone through starting a firm, growing a firm, and then eventually, I know it's hard for some to imagine, but eventually selling or letting go of a firm. So it really is tens of thousands of dollars of coaching that I've done with thousands of accountants in this big old manual book. So this is what I would recommend, Liz, going back to your question, as a backup option if they're not into software.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I think very, very helpful. So a big question I've been getting quite frequently is around how to handle all the changes in the law, how to handle the political environment, all the states and what they're doing. So can we kind of close out our conversation with if a firm is heading into this season feeling extremely overwhelmed, how would you talk to them about that?
Yeah. What I would say is if you don't have a social community that you can just lay it all out there with, that's what helps me with the daily stressors that come across our plate. I learned so much from Reddit communities, I have my own Facebook group, Accounting from Influencers, where people get to just talk very honestly and openly about what's bothering them as a practitioner. There are so many cool places like that. Coming to webinars like this and just hearing what other people are doing is so important. So stay plugged in. I know I'm naturally an extreme introvert and I want to just go run and hide in a corner, but I need my people, right? So you got to stay around people that are talking about the same things, keep everyone's stress levels low, and keep everyone up to date on little random tips and tricks that are happening as you get into busy season.
I love that. So best advice I am gleaning from Dr. Jackie is find community, read her book, and plan with your clients before you head into tax season. And everything will look a little brighter on the other side.
For sure. It'll be nice and shiny.
We can only hope. Thank you so much for your time today. This is really incredible. And I'm excited to read your book for sure.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much. It's so great seeing each of you. I love y'all so much. Take care.
You too. I'll see you tomorrow, I think.
I feel like we should run an experiment and have Byron try and do some tax returns using our tax planning using the software. Look at Liz's face.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you my taxes for my business to do, and then I'm going to do them on the side, and then we're going to compare notes.
I think in accounting that we too often forget that we have to put our own mask on first, like in an airplane, right? Put our own mask on first before we help others. And our whole thing is, oh, there's clients, I gotta help the clients, I gotta do all this stuff. And we're giving so much of ourselves that we're not taking that time to take care of ourselves. That's part of the reason why at the center, we created this whole personal resilience program, which is really, for you to be that strong rock and foundation for the clients, you need to be solid yourself first. So it really is a matter of taking care of ourselves, and then we can take care of others. In fact, we can take care of more others the stronger that we are as a foundation. And that's also why a lot of what we do is based in teams, because then even if you're faltering, some of the teammates can jump in to cover or to allow you the time to rest so that you can rest, but we're still holding everybody up. So that's why I think working together in a team is so important, as well as taking care of yourself.
This sounds like punishment. This is. I bet we have Rory do the tax returns.
Well, as long as you're not trying to do it in Excel,
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Oh, Rory, we can't hear you. You got it, Rory. If you can check your mic, we can't hear you.
Check your mic. I check 1 2 1 2.
There we go.
All right.
Welcome.
Oh no, it's a delay. Actually, you were there.
I think that was me. Yeah,
Oh,
I
was that
said
you?
mic check 1 2 1 2.
That was you. Okay. Rory, we still can't hear.
How about Rory just moves his mouth and I'll talk for him. Oh,
It's starting.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
yep.
Hopefully, I'm not. I want to see this content. I want to see Byron try to prepare a tax return. I'll sign up for the CPE content for that.
It's just going to
put
be
it on
Byron
Twitch.
and
Yeah.
6 bots live. Preparing
I don't know.
the tax
Right?
return.
Have you guys seen the TikTok or Instagram where they have the two customer service ChatGPTs talking to each other?
Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh, it's brilliant! It's brilliant.
It was like my note taker meeting. It's all good.
Yeah. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, let's start off kind of the same. For people who may not know you, want to give a quick intro?
Yes, I am the director at Arrowroot Family Office, and I have a book out on CPA Trendlines, just as Jackie does. It's called The Holistic Guide to Wealth Management, and I also trademarked the term Advise ROAR, and the ROAR is short for Rory. It's for Return on Relationship. I'm big into what's called behavioral finance, or the psychology of money. It's helping really people find meaning, and it's not about wealth. It's about well-being. It's not about money. It's about meaning, and so we use the tools of psychology and financial planning to really help people optimize their businesses, their personal finances, and ultimately optimize their well-being.
Love it. And part of the reason I also wanted to have you on this was, again, that this is one of those things where I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially with people feeling the way that they're feeling right now.
Yeah.
And that well-being that you're discussing is more than just tax or financial well-being. It's a greater well-being. Do you want to talk about that some more and how it's a bigger picture?
Yeah, Donny, I think part of your three things that you provide is peace of mind, clarity, and hope. And that, is what I advocate for as well. And I truly believe, I deal with the family office with a lot of people who have high net worths, right? But as the accounting professional, those that are working with small businesses, opening that business for the first time, filing that tax return, that can really have that outsized impact and provide that clarity, that confidence with these complex financial decisions, right? And that's why I love financial planning, because we give them a hope for a better tomorrow. And so if you can really pull back and not necessarily have to be the person with all the answers, I'm a big advocate for the consultative approach. I know, Donny, we spoke about it, is really being the person that comes in with a blank slate and starts asking meaningful questions. And that's the human side of advice that I advocate for. And what we do in financial planning is really understanding the human behind the numbers. not really a retirement at age 65 with $2 million. What is that $2 million going to let you do? Closer to your grandkids and go to their sporting events. So it's really a wonderful way to give people tax savings with your tax planning with Jackie's a software out there. But you pair that with a financial plan and help people, draft a story for a better tomorrow. I know this sounds like a TED Talk, everybody.
Well, I think a lot of people forget that is a big part of and thank you for bringing up, that's our tenets of purpose for the profession, is that we give people peace of mind. I'm not going to get audited, for example, by the IRS, or even if I do, I've got my tax advisor behind me. Vision and clarity, and really looking towards the future, whether it's a little shorter term, which is generally the tax planning, or longer term, as you're describing here. So hopefully people can start to hear why we have this whole trend of what we've been talking about today. And the other thing I think is just the fact that this has become very much supported by technology also. Can you give us a little more?
Yeah. So, I love Jackie's tool, tax planning tool. I'm a big believer in estate planning technology. I always say it provides a family office level of care. So where you'd have to work with an attorney before can now be had by a lot of tech-enabled solutions. I'm sure we're going to cover this, in 6 months when after tax season, where you can use tech-enabled solutions to really connect generations, and it works across the balance sheet. And when you're helping people outline their wishes, helping people, pass down their assets and give them, a family office level of treatment, you can do that and give them tax efficiency. And that really is part of an overall holistic financial plan. I call it a virtual family office, really connecting the best of the business and CPA and accounting world with the financial planning and wealth management world, because I think we're moving to a point. I know earlier on we're talking about the AI meeting tool. That's really just going to be the modern day CRM. I built a CRM to rival Carbon and Canopy almost a decade ago. I see these AI meeting tools. They're really disguised as CRMs because they're getting intelligence from meetings, from emails, and eventually, AI is going to evolve, and who knows what it's going to eventually become as far as a technology. But if you have all the data, right, from all the systems, the general ledger, the investment platforms, the bank accounts, right, if you have all that data, and then you have the conversational aspect of this. I always talk about the behavioral finance aspect of the emotional and psychological data of the client. That's why I go back to asking those deeper, more meaningful questions. If you have all that information, you can properly advise clients and get them to where they want to go and guide them, because that's actually personalized, timely, and impactful advice. You'll know when their daughter's going to LSU. You'll know if they're going into high school and maybe we have working papers and start working for the family business. So all these opportunities to be able to be identified by AI, it's going to make it easier to serve that relationship. I go back to the return on relationship. So you can utilize technology, but I go back to the fact that we need to be humans here, and people still want to deal with another human to make sure they're making a correct decision in sometimes these complex financial situations.
I think one of the big things that always comes up, or kind of the elephant in the room when we start to talk about this, especially with CPAs, is the conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious for your thoughts on how to address that.
Well, I believe that really a tax plan should happen within a financial plan, because we need to know the goals and the retirement needs. And so I don't believe there's a conflict there. Obviously, if you're doing test work and all that, you need your independence. But for most folks who are doing CAS and doing business advisory, they should understand the personal financial planning side of that client, so they can properly advise that business owner. And so I believe we are moving to the integration of these two professions to really be able to provide wonderful business advice that's tax efficient, but also pair that with personal financial planning, help them set up the proper guidance there to ensure that they have an nest egg in retirement, to help them meet their goals and their dreams and aspirations. So I think it's a powerful combination. I've experienced it with the folks that we work with, and they love it when they have a dream team of advisors, when they have a CPA, then they have an EA and a CFP on a call with them. They really feel like they have a team behind them to help them, with their business and personal financial planning needs.
And with that thought, what is your ideal state, working side by side with tax? How does that look, and what does that look like in tax season in particular?
Yeah, well, I think the tax folks were great, and I'm always trying to push them towards the more transformational behavioral finance, squishy advice. But they're great with the tactical tax savings. Everybody loves to not have to pay Uncle Sam a penny more than they should. So I think that's actually an easier sell for folks. And then when you pair that with the financial planning, it's a great combination. So the CPAs that we work with initially were that great tactician coming in there and providing that tax savings, but they're starting to move on to start providing the financial planning advice within the service offering where they don't necessarily need me or the other advisors on platform. They're getting used to the financial planning.
I love that vision. I hope we can help bring it to fruition.
Yes. Well, yeah, as I write in my book, that's available on Trendlines as well. My friend, Professor Hal Hirschfield at UCLA, he's actually the foremost authority on this concept called Your Future Self. He wrote a book called Your Future Self. And he says that we treat our future selves as no different than a stranger. Think about it. When you go to the supermarket and you're hungry, you don't, you load up on groceries when you probably don't need them. So he does say that the antidote to make better decisions for that future self is to create a vivid visual picture of what that ideal future state looks like. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? And then how do you feel? So as woo-woo as that sounds, there's research behind, having that North Star ideal future state.
Well, I mean, we can jump into why that makes sense from like a quantum physics perspective, or I would say like borderline metaphysics perspective, right. Or go into like manifest destiny and
Dr. Joe Dispenza would love this.
America, right? Like happy to deep dive on those topics, but for today, I think helping our tax people think about tax season and think about their clients holistically is really important. What's one key takeaway in your book?
Ooh, that is a good question, Liz. Crawl before you walk, before you run. So if you're looking to get into financial planning, wealth management, I'd work with a wealth manager and start seeing the processes, seeing some of the tech tools out there. Just as the fintech on the accounting side, there's wonderful technology out there that allows you to streamline business. Is not as difficult as people think. They always think, oh, you got to pick stocks and all that. No, you look at their risk profile and then you put them into a portfolio on the investment side. And then the other one I always gravitate towards is try out the estate planning technology with that family office level of care. Do one yourself, right? There's the modern solutions out there are really a great way to provide a wonderful service for folks that really encompasses a financial plan. So I would say those two things: work with a financial planner that you're close with, try out the financial planning and estate planning technology. Well,
I am certainly excited to read your book, and I am sure I will glean a whole lot more than those 2 points.
Yes. Well, thank you, Liz.
No, I'm listening to you say family office. I think I heard you earlier say high net worth individual. So is there like I was going to say dollar threshold, but I guess it's really an asset threshold or something that is the starting point where, right? Because part of what we're telling people today is as you're doing your returns, take a look out for these things.
Yeah. So
you can identify these opportunities and then come to the event that we're having, our tax transformation summit, after tax season next year to figure out how and what you're actually doing. So what are the things we're looking for? Is there a certain asset level or a certain income level?
Yeah, I mean, if they're a tax planning client, they're really a financial planning client. And I think everybody should have an estate plan, even if you have your pet Fido that you want to pass on your assets to. You can do that now with an estate plans. So I'm a big believer on not only serving the wealth preserving, but the wealth seeking. That's why I love the accounting profession. That's why I grew up in the accounting profession. For those business owners and those people starting their financial journey, I believe we can have an outsized impact and giving them the tools and the right mindset to not only be tax efficient and grow their business, but have that outlook for a better tomorrow. So, Donny, I know you want an asset figure. I think that, if you're doing any tax planning, you can do that within a financial plan, and you can add estate planning in your a majority of way of having that virtual family office that I talk about.
No, actually, I think your response is perfect, because that's where, and that's what I was hoping you were going to say that, because I even saw the value. I mean, I, by default, even though I'm not a tax person, had to do some of the estate planning for my grandmother and now my great aunt, who doesn't have kids. And so I'm kind of like the son in the sense. And I actually had to go and do all that stuff. And I thought, you're spot on. I didn't know about the tools. I think it was you that I actually talked to, where you're like, well, take a look at this and take a look at that. And I was actually able to do some of that planning on my own. And then I just had to work with, once I had the plan, I had exactly what to take to the lawyer. So I actually also minimized our lawyer's fees in that. But I can totally imagine, I'm going to say, a typical tax person using some of these tools and maybe not taking it to the nth degree. Maybe you're not doing the actual investment planning, but doing a lot of this planning and structure.
Yeah.
And then being that trusted advisor to that client, to go to the investment manager, to go to the lawyer, to work through these things.
That's where I say, that's where I say the return on relationship. I believe the accounting professional is that quarterback. They're ones that are the center of influence that can bring in the other subject matter experts. On the wealth side, we don't start working with people until they have enough high enough income or enough assets to be managed. But it's the accounting professional that's early on in that boat, rowing with that taxpayer, that business owner, that can have that outsized impact.
Awesome.
So as an individual, who has lots of random businesses and affairs in very many directions, and I do my own planning, I've been seeing a rise of the platforms creating their own tools. So I'd love to get your opinion on, when Fidelity releases like a new feature inside of their own systems versus the tools that you have access to. So for those of us that deal with clients on a regular basis and get asked this question, like, how do I justify the benefit of a wealth manager for someone that's very financially savvy when all of these people are coming out with their own tools?
Yeah, we're our own worst enemy as far as investors go. It's called the investor gap, or the behavior gap. It's just human nature. That's what behavioral finance really talks about. Is when the market's down, a lot of people have that herd mentality and sell. And so we, as wealth advisors, really, folks have been on my podcast, have talked about. Really, we're helping folks, preventing them from making 3 to 5 catastrophic decisions that would, reduce their net worth. And it's during March of 2020 when the market drops, double digits, and people got scared and might have pulled out of the market. This is an investment advice, but it's really helping clients stay on track, being that sounding board. I mean, Vanguard did a study, and I was fortunate to have them allow me to produce that study in the book. And they talk about the value of an advisor, where we help clients save up to sometimes exceeding 3% net returns. And that's through behavioral coaching. So stopping them from selling potentially when the market has a downturn. That's from asset location. Do I put it in a tax advantage account or I put a taxable account? Tax withdrawal strategies in retirement. So there is value of an advisor. There is research behind it. I mean, there's a Canadian study that a financial advisor, I think, is 2.5% more in savings. There's ways to identify accounts and label certain accounts. You're 2 times as likely to save, I believe, if you name it Byron's Bahamas Fund, right? He's more likely to save. So,
is there one of those?
Yeah,
I definitely need one of those.
Yeah, let's create one.
That's awesome. And that 2.5% from the Canadian study, was that metric or imperial percentage?
I'll have to look it up and get back to you. That one, Byron.
Dude, that's awesome though, because I don't think everybody realizes kind of the scope of your role in that relationship and how deep you go into those strategies to create that additional savings of multiple percentage points. So that's pretty sick.
Thank you. But I want to go back to this. I know I hop around a lot. I believe it's whether you're a financial advisor, a business advisor, a estate plan attorney, you could be that person that can be that quarterback and bring in the other people who are subject matter experts to help solve problems that might be out of your scope. And that's why I think it's an opportunity for folks that are listening to take on a more future facing role. The compliance work is there, right? The tax planning is there, but you can now start adding these other services, financial planning, estate planning, and investment management if you want to get into that. But more importantly, good financial planning is really good life planning, and good life planning is asking questions, that dive into what the client's hopes, dreams, fears, and aspirations are. That's my second TED Talk.
That's wonderful. It's a great TED Talk.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
That's great. So for those of you that are listening, and I just realized we've been forgetting to launch these. So we just actually launched the poll for you to come to see, is this something that you're already doing with clients, or are these things maybe that you're going to look at? So we'll use that as kind of a closeout, and thank you, Rory. And then you mentioned the book. We will include, I know we're going to include a link in the follow-ups for them to get that book with a discount if they want from CPA Trendlines as well. So
Perfect.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on. Liz, good to see you. Donnie,
You as
good to see
well.
you. And Byron, we have to have a conversation, and we'll start a Byron Bahamas fund. Let's get that.
Oh, let's go, man. Let's go. I appreciate that, brother. Good seeing you, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was about to suggest maybe we need to also do a test of having Byron actually do some wealth management for people using tools and see if they actually work.
Ooh, this is
A
fun.
whole series.
This is
Byron
fun.
versus the profession
That-
with all of the meeting bots.
This is like the Shaq series where I just have to compete in other people's skill sets. That's awesome. I like it. Let's go.
I have faith in you. You will win.
Number one cheerleader.
We're all cheering for you. Well, Rory actually had given us a preview and had used the word hope a lot. And we always think of that as something super fuzzy, and maybe it's more of a feeling. And I know a lot of you, well, that's why I go to church, right? Because church gives me hope, and or have some type of religion. But actually, it was interesting when I first talked with Caitlin. Welcome to the stage, Caitlin. Caitlin actually has done research and shown how you can actually measure hope, and you can actually affect hope. And so, welcome, Caitlin. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin Hobson. I'm from Arkansas. I actually am an assistant professor of accounting at Arkansas Tech University. And Donnie had previously mentioned, I have recently gotten my doctorate just this past May, so it feels really good to have that under my belt. But my dissertation was all about public accountants' hope. And really, whenever I started my whole doctorate process, I had no idea what I was going to do or anything like that with my accounting research. And I had looked into some different positive psychology aspects like resilience, optimism. And then I stumbled upon hope, which we all know what hope is. Like hopefully we do, right? Hopefully we feel hope, when we're trying to pursue our goals, or just when we tell someone we hope they have a great day or stuff like that. Well, I didn't realize that it had actually been researched and, was measurable. And so there's different types of hope. So kind of to give a little bit of background on it, there's how hopeful just of a person you are, which is like trait hope. Just, I think I'm a pretty hopeful person. I haven't taken the survey or anything, so I don't know for a fact. But, some people are more hopeful in just everyday life compared to others. But then there's this thing called state hope. And that's what I focused on how hopeful you are about a particular event. So I looked at public accountants' hope regarding busy season, or what we're going to call tax season from now on. So how hopeful they are, going into, tax season, and how that impacts their retention or turnover intentions is what my dissertation was all about, and how they appraised stress or perceived stress going into busy season based off their level of hope. So again, hope, some people might think of it as an emotion, but in the research, they define hope as a perceived capability that you're able to hope for a specific goal. There's this goal-driven focus within it that if you have a goal in mind, if you have a high level of hope, you're able to perceive different ways to achieve your goal, and then the motivation to get to that goal as well. So there's these different components, pathways, and agency, but that doesn't matter for right now. So it's really just are you able to figure out a way to your goal and keep yourself on your path to your goal as well. And I was actually really surprised. So just to already get into the results about my dissertation, but I was really surprised that accountants had pretty high on average levels of hope, which is amazing. I figured it'd be kind of in the middle, or going into busy season honestly might be even at the low end, because you never know. But they really did have a very high average of hopefulness going into busy season, which did impact how they perceive stress. They perceived it as more of a motivator than a debilitator. So more of a challenge that, all the stress that you might have going into busy season, they see it as something to get past, to keep striving for your goals rather than to quit and give up. And also their level of hope did have a positive impact on their turnover intentions. They were less likely to want to leave the firm by the end of busy season if they had higher levels of hope. So I thought that was really interesting, and I'd love to do more with it too. So I'm glad that I'm here today to get to talk about it.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and I have a question though, because I've never actually really thought deeply about this word hope, right? And what it means, because I hope my phone battery doesn't die before this meeting ends. And I hope that the internet stays stable for me to ask my question. Is that the type of hope we're talking about, or is it something different?
It's different. So that's more of hope of just, it's more saying it's not a capability, but it's just saying it's not in your control, right? Whenever you're hoping for your battery not to die or the internet not to go out, that's not in your control. But whenever it is in your control, that's when it's the research measurable hope that you can actually determine if you're achieving your goals or not.
Okay, so it's related to kind of your capacity to enable that to happen.
Yes.
Fascinating. Okay, awesome.
And I forgot to mention it. I looked at it just at the public accountant level, like the individual person, but you could look at it at a team level or a firm level. And I know Donny really likes, I mentioned this in our podcast, but hope culture, which is at the organizational level of if the firm itself develops these goals and works with their employees to determine their own goals and help them achieve them, that it can increase the whole organization's level of hope, which could impact their well-being, turnover intentions, burnout, because hope has been shown to, have a positive impact on all of these things.
How do you generate that environment of hope or that culture of hope?
That's a great question. So I haven't, this is my first time researching with hope, and I just did it at the individual level. I would love to work with the firm to be able to do it one day, but I know rehab facilities have done this, where what they did was they basically started off by determining, okay, at this particular facility, what kind of goals do we want to have in mind? And honestly, you want to start with something small, right? You want to be able to get your level of hope up, because if you can achieve your goals, it has this iterative and additive effect of helping you live with your future goals as well, of having that positive impact of if you can achieve it, you can keep hoping to achieve more things later on. So what they did was they developed smaller goals at first, and they talked to the patients in the facility about their own goals as well to determine what they might want to achieve. And they worked with them to make that happen. And sometimes they did, sometimes their goals weren't met, but they tried to update them, change them so they could be met in the future. And this is something else that I think could really help with firms as well. And I know some firms, have more of an impact with working with people outside of just, the job itself, but helping them with charities and stuff like that. Of if they do have goals outside of work, being just aware of it and then helping them, giving either the time off or donations, whatever it might be. So they have that support as well as helping them achieve their personal and, career goals as well.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds a bit like building confidence in those smaller leading up to larger hope goals, right?
Yeah. And I think it really, like, some of all these positive, which I feel like some people think it's their emotions, which they are sometimes. But like these positive resources is how I like to frame it, because you can have more or less of it, right? Like these energy resources. And so they are kind of heavily tied together, like resiliency, hopefulness, confidence, optimism, all of that. Because if you're low in one, there's a good chance you might be low in some of the others as well. If you're, having a bad day or a bad month, it might all be decreased levels. But if you're doing really well, it could boost all of that up. And having a firm and, your team help support you as well can really help boost that too.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
go ahead, Donny. Sorry.
I really like how you've actually bridged in what you described to what has already been kind of talked about as like HR or team management or leadership best practices, like goal setting, right? And kind of setting that tone from the top. Because I think a lot of times we think of those as kind of softer things. And maybe how important is it really? And am I just putting, as the firm leader, am I just saying, hey, everyone, busy season's not going to be that bad this year, right? It kind of feels kind of fake, but there actually is an effect on this if you truly believe in these things.
Yes, and I totally agree with that. I think, definitely when you're at maybe sometimes a larger firm, and you're hearing this like tone at the top, it might not feel like it actually applies to you. But when they are more in the conversation, even if it's just at an audit team or just at one particular location and not just the whole firm, right? It can make them feel more important, and it can help them help the public accountants to achieve their goals and hopefully want to stay at that firm because of it, right? If you feel cared about, you're more likely to want to stay than if you don't feel cared about.
So how does one actually like what's the scale of measurement? Like how do I like rate my level of hope?
Yeah, so there's actually 6 questions. So technically, there's 3 components of hope. So there's your goal you have to have in mind, right? Because if you don't have a goal in mind, why would you hope for anything to happen, right? And then the ways you think you can achieve your goals, pathways, and then your agency, your motivation. Technically, only pathways and agency are measurable because everyone has different goals in mind. But there's 3 questions for pathways and 3 for agency. And I don't know them off the top of my head, but like kind of paraphrasing it. On an average day, how likely are you to give up if an obstacle comes in your way? And then you would measure it from extremely likely to extremely unlikely, the chance that you would give up. And so that kind of helps measure agency, your motivational aspect of it. And those questions are all combined together to determine your level of hope.
That's wild. That's cool.
Yeah. I think so.
So do I need to only kind of per se put this positive face forward? What if I really do feel like, oh, we've got a lot of stuff to get through, or there's a lot of things coming on? How do I manage a situation like that using these concepts?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, like, every firm's different, and, also whoever runs the firm, they're going to treat it different ways, right? But, even if it is going to be a busy season, you have a heavy workload and all of that and all these deadlines, I think that, still being honest and upfront with your staff and letting them know, hey, like, we have to accomplish all of this at the firm level, at this location level, whatever it might be. And we're not forgetting about your own personal goals as well, but maybe we can align some of them, hopefully. And then if not, maybe after busy season, it sounds bad putting on the back burner, but like still just being upfront with them that we have to get this done. And then letting them know that they're still on the firm's mind and that those goals haven't been forgotten.
That makes sense. I feel like we employed some of that as well, like when we dealt with the COVID pandemic, because
Yes.
we saw all these things. It was difficult. We were very upfront with our people. We actually had to put people on furlough. So we were very upfront with them. Hey, we're sorry. We've had to make this very difficult decision. Some people we reduced schedules. Some people we put on furlough. But we did also share with them, hey, our goal is to get everyone back as soon as possible. This is when we think the soonest is, but we can't promise this. And having that open communication, I think did, after actually and talking with everyone afterwards, that it did give them hope, because they saw that, they felt like I was being honest with them, and that translated into hope for them.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes back to, like, being able to trust someone and trust a firm is another positive, like, energy resource. And so it connects to your hope, your confidence in the firm, your hope that, it will get better. We will be able to, get put back on our jobs, stuff like that. I definitely think all ties together. So, having that open communication can really help, boost their confidence, boost their hope, and they're more likely to want to stay at the firm, right? If they trust them. And I actually seen it we did this research project during my doctorate with Gen Z students who were about to be entering the workforce, and basically what aspects did they really care about when choosing a profession, which it was business professions, but it wasn't just accounting, sadly. But with that, the biggest thing was communication, just being able to trust the firm. They wanted to be able to look into the firm and understand the company and what their values were and see if they match their own. And so I really do think that having that open communication and just honesty can really help, keep employees there and want to stay there and really be more passionate about that particular place as well.
That makes sense. I think there's a lot of follow-up questions I have around the research you did, around like what further research you could do that I'm sure everybody is really curious about. But I do have one question going into tax season, which is, if you're talking to a firm that feels like they're lacking hope, what is one piece of advice you'd give them?
That's a good question. So going into busy season, to help boost their hopefulness, I would say, to try to find the positives, to try to find those goals that you're going to accomplish, and to make yourself, again, boost your confidence, to make yourself feel a little bit better that, it is still, January through April, but it's not the whole rest of your life or the rest of the year. It's just a few months. You can get through it. Even though they feel like a long time, those few months do. I know they do sometimes. But I would say, think about the positives and try to, not put so much, because, well, let me back up. There's this negativity bias that when people think about stuff, they are drawn to think of the negatives first before the positives. And it's just so frustrating because there is so many positives in just everyday life, but people are so prone to think of the negative first that I would really say that if you're for anybody, that if you're worried about the upcoming busy season, to just take a step back, think of the things you know you're going to accomplish, and hopefully that will boost your emotions, boost your hopefulness up, and make you feel a little bit better. And know that also you're not alone. I would also talk to someone at your firm or someone else outside your firm to know that, trust me, you're not the only accountant dealing with, hopefully not 80 plus, but 60 plus hours, 55 plus hours. So I think that's important too, is just talking to other people to know that you're not alone.
Thank you. I think there's a theme of community across all of our conversations today.
We're hoping everyone sees that community and starts to see this as their community. Yes, so thank you, Caitlin. Very much appreciate you sharing all of that with us
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you,
Can
Caitlin.
we read
Really fascinating.
your dissertation research?
Oh yeah, there's a link to it. I will send it. Yes. Thank you.
Amazing, because I would love to read that.
We should mention too that with the center we have Caitlin and another researcher, Amy Cooper, from Alaska, who's going to be helping us with some research around turnover intention in the coming year. So hopefully you guys stay in tune for that. All right. We are in the last few minutes, and we have not have any questions this entire time we've been talking. So we do have a few minutes left. If any of you that are out there have questions for us, feel free to throw that into the Q&A or into the chat. But while we look at those, closing thoughts, Liz, Byron?
I mean, I think that the theme, the thread that themed all the things together is that, one, Byron challenging the industry with a bunch of bots is definitely good content. And two, community is important to surviving tax season. And then if I was going to pull out a third thread, it would probably be the technology is getting more and more cool every year, and that we have this opportunity to utilize it and make our lives better by utilizing it.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And the thing that I heard through all of it is something that I've been echoing around all this anxiety related to the technology and AI and what space there is for humans in the future state of work with artificial intelligence. And in all of these conversations, with Camden and all the way through, it's about us finding ways to spend more time having conversations with human beings. And it just is. This is the stuff that is not going to be replaced with artificial intelligence. Sure, it may communicate, but it's not going to replace these conversations. This is the stuff that people value, and this is the goodness. This is the vitamins that we need for having optimism and healthy outlooks and positive hope. So, I just get excited to hear so many different people in different spaces talking about this same idea of having more human to human interaction, which is awesome.
Very well said on both points. One thing came in really quick, and I'm going to address it just because I think it is important. It's there's so many great tools out there. How do you determine what's the best fit? Should you abandon a tech stack and see something shinier? I think all of us would agree the answer is no on that one. It's really about keeping an open mind, taking a look at it, and kind of looking at that fit, because when it's busy season, you don't want to be testing something out new in busy season, but maybe test it out on extension. So that's the quick advice to that question that came in. Other than that, I'm totally going
to. You owe me $1.
and then we got to flip it too, because thank you, because that's where I was actually going to go to, which is all of the things that we were talking about today. This is how you take busy season and switch it back to only being tax season. And so if you start to employ the technology, if you rely upon the community and you build help in all of in your staff as firms and colleagues. Again, coming back to the whole community thing, I can't emphasize that enough. That's how Byron, Liz, and I get through stuff. We get together and we commiserate and we celebrate, and sometimes you get to hear it on our podcast. So again, don't forget to check out The Accounting Arc.
The Center for Accounting Transformation provides business professionals with a network for utilizing innovations that are ready for adoption, the training and resources necessary to apply those innovations, and an opportunity to engage the talent and community needed to further the pursuit of innovative accounting practices that drive responsible and mindful business performance. Find out more at our website, www.improvetheworld.net. And if you're interested in sharing your own transformation stories, please contact us there.